It has begun. Corvette runs through right now, and it's looking pretty darn good today. Greg, some cool stuff outside.
Shelby 650
Super Snake.
So this is a Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2. One of the first cars I detailed, very, very lucky, I feel very spoiled saying this, was an F40. The saddest moment of my life.
He says you can drive this car, I blow the engine.
Hey, welcome to the Barrett-Jackson Auction in West Palm Beach, Florida. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. We have a special guest today.
I'm Greg DeGiorgis from the Chicane Club.
And today we're going to be running this Chevy Corvette through the Barrett-Jackson Auction to see if we're either number one, going to make money, or number two, probably lose a little bit of money today.
Hopefully not.
I love to put myself in situations where we kind of gamble and I try to win more than I lose. Today's video, we're going to try to sell this thing shortly. Like, we're already late. It's running through really soon. We're going to walk through the auction, see what's here. What's really cool about having Greg from the Chicane Club in Jupiter, Florida is that we have two different types of people. I know Corvettes, I know muscle cars, Camaros, Mustangs, I said Corvettes. You have a whole different type of information. Can you just tell us a little bit what you do?
Yeah, our circles overlap a good bit too. No, I have a big background in supercars, exotic cars, and a lot of stuff with race cars. So we have a really cool, Corvettes kind of fall into both of those categories, so I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
So for the first time, it's not just gonna be me talking about what I know, we get a plethora of your knowledge as well.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Today's gonna be really interesting. My name is Craig, this is Greg. Let's get going. So welcome to Flying Wheels, actually welcome to the Barrett-Jackson Auction. Before I dive into the Corvette, I'm going to just discuss the Chicane Club is a race car simulator club in Jupiter, Florida, right?
Yep.
I've been there. I drove it like an arcade car and crashed multiple times. Then you taught me to drive it like an actual race car, changed the game. It was an absolute blast. Like, we did a kickoff party.
Yep.
Today, you get to see how I do my job, and I get to just ask questions about things that I don't know all over the auction. You guys get to join with us, so I'm really excited for it. The Corvette's actually running through really, really soon, so let's talk about this car really quick. This is actually my grandfather's 2001 Chevy Corvette C5. They bought it in 2004, so they're the second owner. It has 68,000 original miles. They are my grandmother's the president of the Corvette Club, so this was like their baby. The only time they used it was to go to Corvette functions, and they're just getting older, so they don't use it much anymore. I think they put a few hundred miles on it in the past year. They called me, Craig, you interested in buying this car? I don't want to buy a car from family. I don't want to negotiate. So I said, just tell me a number. What'll buy it, and I'll just write you a check for it. He gave me a number. So what I'm going to do, I bought the car already from him. And whatever I make over that amount, I'm gonna split it with him. He doesn't know I'm gonna do that, so if we make 2,000, he gets 1,000, I get 1,000, and so on. If we lose money, which is probably more realistic, I'm just gonna eat the loss, whatever. I get to make some videos, we get to have some fun, so it'll be a cool story. I own this car for $12,000 right now.
Okay.
Add $700 for the consignment fee, and then 10% for whatever this car sells for. So if it sells for $10,000, I owe them $1,000 plus $7, so it cost me $1,700 to sell this for $10,000. Now I own it for $12,000, so there's a good possibility that I'm going to lose a little bit of money on this. If I get 14, I think that's our break-even point. So I'm hoping we get $14,000. Triple black, so black paint, black convertible top,
love it,
black interior, 350. LS1, all aluminum V8, automatic transmission. This is a really cool, like, Florida car.
Yeah, this is ideal for down here. It might be a little hot in the summers, but I think everyone who's in Florida is going to be pretty used to that, so that's going to be a nice choice.
So in our last video, I had to put some miles on it, and the AC isn't 100%. It's just cool enough, and it was it really gave me a feel of what Florida's like.
It's more
as summer's coming. Yeah, I guess we could say that. So without further ado, this is running through. Let's see how this does, and then I just want to ask questions all day and get your knowledge.
Yeah, let's
pick your brain.
It's gonna be fun.
Cool.
Love
all right.
Car.
It looks great. I'm sure under the LEDs it's going to show really, really well. And to be honest with you, it's early. Like, we're the 23rd car of the day, I think. But the parking lot is absolutely packed. It has 68,000 on it. The parking lot's absolutely packed. I had to park like in an accessory lot, so I'm hoping people are here to spend some money. It has begun. Corvette runs through right now, and it's looking pretty darn good today. I gotta get like 14 to break even on it.
Nice car. You had it a long time?
It's my grandfather's. He's owned it since 04. So, oh God, this is cheap.
Once again, triple black configuration.
13?
The cars only had 3 previous.
It's at 13. I need to get 14 to break even on it. All right, we're good, we're good. We're at our break even now, almost. 14 covers my fees and I'm breaking even, yeah. 14, good. All right, so I'm clear. Now I just get to have fun the rest of the day. We made a little bit, good. We did okay.
Not a bad day.
I feel better about today. Thanks a lot. You were just mentioning Meekum?
Yeah, the significant difference between the two. I mean, this has got nice cars, but Meekum seems that it has more cars for the everyday guy, like me.
Yeah. Coming in here early, you kind of get like more affordable cars, like stuff that I'm buying, selling to. But this is a no reserve auction, so it's the highest bidder gets, like wins. At 8,000, when no one was bidding on it, it really got my heart rate up. And then Meekum, like I don't have to sell stuff, so it's okay. I didn't sell a couple things and I brought them home. This is a lot more intense.
Oh yeah.
So car guy, you have a Mustang?
Yes, I have a Mustang. Yes,
yeah. All right. What year's your Mustang?
73.
73 Mustang.
Yeah, convertible. Yes.
Nice. It just sits in the warehouse.
No, it's used on the weekends.
It does. Okay.
And when I retire here soon, it'll be used a lot more.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I had a 34 Ford Rat Rod, but it just beat me up too much.
Yeah.
So I went for
and that Mustang has some class to it too.
Yes, it's the big nose girl.
Yeah, that's a cool car. I have a 73 Mach 1.
Oh, do you really?
That's been being restored for 10 years in my garage.
Yeah.
I say being loosely, it's just sitting.
Yeah, this one was, I found it up in Georgia. It had been sitting for a while. There's nothing spectacular about it, but I can get in, it starts right up, and I can drive it and not have to worry about it. That's more important than anything else, right. That's more important than anything.
I'm starting to calm down now. I'm glad it happened early.
Yeah, it's done. Now you can enjoy the rest of the day.
A few minutes later.
Corvette ran through early, and I'm glad that it's over with because my nerves are like insane. My heart rate is through the roof. We sold it for $15,000. $15,000 plus a 10% seller's fee, that's $1,500 plus a $700 consignment fee. So I ended up clearing $12,800. I purchased the car for $12,000 plus like small miscellaneous. Oh shoot, I paid $400 to detail it too. So I own the car for $12,400. I clear $12,800. My grandfather gets $200. I get $200. It's better than paying out. All right, so we won. We got to make some videos. We had some fun. I sold the car. We each get dinner out of it. So let's move on. That segment's over and we can go have some fun now.
All right, so I don't know if you were here for this yesterday, but they apparently did the reveal of the new Shelby 650 Super Snake. This thing is super cool. I mean, I've been a big Shelby and Mustang fan for a long time, and the Super Snake has always been the top of the line, biggest, baddest, gnarliest Mustang around. So when I saw that they were bringing this out, I was super excited. So apparently it has 830 horsepower. Obviously it's got really aggressive aerodynamics. It looks like it's got really nice 6-piston or 8-piston Brembo brakes, which just means really good stopping power lap after lap. So I think they said they're making 250 of these.
Is this still with supercharged 5.2? Is that what they put in? 830 horsepower supercharged V8 engine?
Yeah. Oh, it sounded very supercharged yesterday when I heard it.
And this was their unveiling here?
This is their unveiling here. They literally drove it up with the car cover and then ripped it off. So
wow.
This thing's wicked cool. You can still get this with a 6-speed manual, which the gearhead in me really likes.
One of the few cars you can still do that with.
A supercharged V8 with the 6-speed and 3 pedals is...
that unveiling would have been a good video.
Yeah, no.
Can't believe I missed it.
Sorry we missed that, but this thing's super cool. All right, so we clearly just found that there's a convertible version also, which is super cool, and they're stunning blue color with the hood popped on this thing. What I really like looking at this really quickly is that most modern cars have so much plastic covers, and there's not actually anything real to look at under the hood. But I can still see a blower and a supercharger and intake in there, so that's really cool for me to actually see on a modern car in 2022.
And they weren't quite sure what the MSRP is in this car yet, but she said between 160 and 170 on for a Super Snake.
Which is honestly pretty reasonable for a collector car like this, and I think they're going to have really
out of it with low number production.
Yeah, with really low number production, high horsepower. It's their leading Mustang right now, so I think this is going to be a really desirable car.
Yeah, it's fun to see him in real life. So last night you were teaching me how to drive sim cars. No, he's actually really good. past me very casually. And then outside, you casually mentioned something. Can you just say what you said a minute ago?
Yeah, so we were here yesterday and I walked by this. So this is a Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2, so the most current version of the car. 2018, before I started Chicane Club and Symmetric and all those businesses with the simulators, I was a race engineer, strategist, and driver coach. So I was working with a team that was based down here in South Florida, racing a pair of these Huracan Super Trofeos. In 2018, we won the North American Championship in our class and then the World Championship with one of these cars in Italy against the Europeans. So Americans bragging there, it was pretty cool. But these cars have a very special place in my heart as a result of that. And I think it's one of the coolest modern race cars around right now.
V12, and I don't know much about this stuff. What is this?
So again, Huracan Super Trofeo, so it's based on the Huracan street car. So it's a 5.2 liter V10 FSI, essentially the same engine out of the street car. They actually put restrictors to turn the horsepower down a little bit for the racetrack because street car horsepower on a racetrack is really a little bit too much.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Believe it or not, believe me, it's still plenty fast. So about 600 horsepower to the wheels. Street car is usually all-wheel drive. This is rear-wheel drive only.
Why would you want less horsepower on the track?
Really, it comes down to safety, really. When you have 650, 700 horsepower on a racetrack, yeah, it's 10 guys drive it, yes, but to go for all being equal, it's much less wear and tear in a car. It's less, it's lower maximum speeds in a corners, less braking wear, less tire wear. It really trickles down and really reduces a lot of expense and keeps things a little bit safer. It is by no means slow. We're still doing 175 miles an hour regularly on racetracks with this car.
So Lamborghini like levels, where's the Aventador, where's this, like if someone's buying these two cars?
So the Huracan is technically one step below the Aventador that we're also standing right next to right now. But the race car that they developed is based on the Huracan. So this again is a Super Trofeo car, that's the name of the car, and it is a spec cars, which means that there is a series that 30 of these will run around, all being essentially equal with some small adjustments for drivers to make it more comfortable.
Wow. So something that's kind of cool is what I learned when I was at your club last night. You can essentially upload any car and race it on any court, right?
Essentially, yes.
So like if somebody has this car or this car, doesn't want to crash it, doesn't want the wear and tear on their brakes and their tires, they can join your club. You can upload their car. They can learn how it feels, how it handles, how it brakes.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
Down to the tires, I think.
Every last detail, and that's honestly what my specialty is with a lot of the sim stuff and where we came from a professional coaching side of things.
So these aren't around in New Hampshire, where I live, at all. So my knowledge on this stuff is like non-existent. It's cool to have you here for these things. And it's all, like I'm making my way south. So it's nice to like get a little bit of knowledge. I'll walk by this stuff and I'm like, oh, there's an Aventador. And then the comments just blow me up like that. You're wrong, Craig.
This is an Aventador SVJ, which is a very special model. It looks like it's the coupe, not the convertible.
This ATC 110, 83 ATC 110 was one of my favorites yesterday. Was one of the first things to run through. ATCs, the three-wheelers, have a special place in my heart. I had one when I was 3, and these big balloon tires actually float on the snow, so I live up north. Four-wheelers track through the snow, they get stuck, dirt bikes, no good. The three-wheeler just floats, and you can cruise. Something else that was kind of neat after these 3 is the Ferrari F40 mini car, was that right?
F40. Hopefully not the same price tag though.
F-Racer Junior. So the F40, might as well tell us what an F40 is.
The coolest car Ferrari has ever made and on the planet. Coolest car to me in the world. So this immediately catches my eye.
It's like the last real Ferrari race car, right? Like the gated.
A lot of people agree with that, yes. I've worked on a bunch. I've got scars in my hands.
No brains, right? It was all...
None whatsoever. Air conditioning was the only creature comfort that it actually had. The saddest moment of my life was when I actually sat in the car. At 18, I was already 6'2", and I very quickly discovered I do not
fit in them?
an F40. So
that hasn't been an issue. I've never had a duck under a doorway. Never been a problem. So I wonder what this sold for. I know the ATC sold for $4,500. This, I have no idea, but it'd be cool to have in your garage.
Yeah, this is the only F40 I'll ever have a chance of owning.
Same. So that was pretty cool. That was like show car stuff. This is auction car stuff. There's an army tank I want to go check out. On the way to the army tank, if you see something you're interested in, point it out. I'll do the same. I love like odd knowledge facts.
Sure.
I do it a lot, and I'd love to hear what like fancy, tickles your fancy type of thing.
Yeah, let's do it. This is fun. So one thing that immediately catches my eye when I walk up, I grew up loving Vipers. They're big, dumb, stupid, loud.
No brains.
No brains whatsoever, and that's the coolest thing in the world to me. So this immediately catches my eye. So this looks like one of the second gens with an 8-liter V10, mid 400 horsepower. Slow by today's standard, but that's not really the point.
No, but in the 90s, that's big power.
That was big power.
GTS, so you get your hatchback style, right? So it's funny you went to this. If you already follow this channel, then I have like a special place in my heart for three-wheelers. high top conversion vans, and Dodge Vipers. My cousin had a Dodge Viper when I was in high school, let me borrow it, went to the beach, obviously, went to go pick up some girls. My wedding, we borrowed the Viper. When I moved to Florida, it was like the first big purchase I ever purchased was a 94 red Dodge Viper. Wife got pregnant, moved home, I had to sell the car. Eventually bought another one, still have it. 9,000 miles, red Dodge Viper, 94 sitting in my garage. I love these cars. There's no brains to it.
None.
Uncomfortable. I burn my leg every time I get out of it. But these cars catch eyes like $1 million Ferrari.
They're like a cartoon. They're a caricature of a real car. Under fine, it has the window switches from a minivan. Who cares? Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I wanna own one of these in my life. This is probably the one I'd have. Not a fan of the wheels personally, but everyone's got their choice.
And in this generation, you get the Plymouth Prowler, the Dodge Viper, and the PT Cruiser. Like, you just shared all the same switches, knobs, everything.
It's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of find it campy in its own way. So these things are super cool. I detailed one when I was really young, and I just fell in love with it. So they're all.
I think every little kid had a poster of some Viper at one time or another.
They don't make any sense on paper.
So I wonder if this is a wrap over the hood, grille, and roof, which I think it is just based on the dullness in the sheen. Kind of an odd look when you have a pearl white Bentley that's already this beautiful to add that. Makes me wonder if there's actually damage under the hood on it. Yeah, so at 20 grand, that's so much car for the money, but it's going to keep climbing quickly, so you almost have to wait for the bid to slow down before you start bidding on things. The seller of the car. And then we have a Bentley, a BMW 850M, Corvette going through, and here's the crowd.
You're welcome. So, 70,000.
Over 70,000. So what's great about this car, it's new, it's fairly new. I have this app called Laser Appraiser, shout out to them, I use it on all my cars. I can scan the VIN over here, it tells me what the car is worth. It's gonna pop up, I enter the mileage. So I can type in the mileage, 6,600 miles. It essentially tells me what the car is worth at dealer auctions, what I should be paying for it. And then it also gives me a vehicle history report, so I know everything about this car walking into it. So it shows me roughly at a dealer auction, this car should be worth about $68,000. If I was wholesaling it around 63, so 63 to $69,000 is what I should be paying for that car. I can go through the history, one owner, no accidents. So I have an idea that I can base my bid, I can have an educated bid on this vehicle. Now what I pay as a dealer versus what they sell for could be significantly different. Is it still me? Is it still me or no?
52, 55.
I'll go 55, yeah. I'm going to stop at 57. We can get to 57. Are we already there? No.
About 58.
No, I'll stop there. I'm done. Yeah.
We're at 66.
Yeah, just hit my number. Thank you, though. So again, if you follow my channel, these are my bread and butter. I love Escalades. There is so much bang for your buck in an Escalade. This one, I just realized that Barrett-Jackson does tell you what they sold for, which is great. 8,500 bucks. You get a black Escalade with DVDs and navigation and third row seats and four-wheel drive, and they're fairly classy looking even in a 13-year-old car. I like these, and they're short money. So every time I see one, I buy one.
Yeah, they ride super nice.
I bought one yesterday, actually.
Nice, good for you.
Well, I have a series called Flipping $400 to a Ferrari, where I wanted just like an affordable Ferrari. What you're used to and what I purchased are two very different things.
Yeah.
This is a 99 360 Modena. Did I even say it right?
The Italians will say Modena, but I've heard
Modena? All right, I've never said it that way. So good to know, that's why it's nice to have you here. This car, 3.6 liter, V8, plenty of power, plenty of fun. For me, it's at the point where they're starting to get very maintenance heavy.
Yes.
I bought one, the service record's this thick, and it was still maintenance heavy. What is your expertise on this? Like, what's your knowledge on this car?
A little bit of literally everything. I've probably touched every part of one of these cars.
Yeah.
Both the street cars, convertibles, and a lot of the challenge cars and race cars, believe it or not. So I've worked at an independent Ferrari shop up north for a long time. You maybe even know business at one point or another. But these things are super cool. I love the sound that they make. One of the coolest things that you probably experience is when you're driving. So even with the top up, you roll the window down, you go to the power, the first thing you hear is the intake sucking the sound from right over here. That's a really cool sound.
That was pretty cool. But the downshift was pretty neat. I had a lot of fun in this car. I just always felt like I was going to break it. And another question I have for you. So this is more my world. Like it's affordable. If somebody wants an entry level Ferrari or Lamborghini, these are at the point where a normal person can own it.
Yeah.
But I always say, like, a cheap Ferrari is an expensive Ferrari.
Yes.
I was at the auction yesterday, and there was a $40,000 360. It needed more than $40,000 in work. Finished, it's probably 60 to 70,000. When I get into these, the Gallardo, right? What's the stuff that I should be looking out for when I'm buying a used Gallardo?
Usually, and they have this in common with a lot of the Ferraris, is the F1 transmission system. So it's automated single clutch system.
Clutch life, right?
Yeah, clutch life. You got to be really careful with the clutch. Make sure it's serviced and adjusted correctly.
Same as the 360, right?
Same as the 360.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the same electronics, believe it or not. A lot of the same parts underneath. The Lambos, I know, especially with the convertible tops, it is a pain, and probably where a lot of the builds come from is that, one, getting specialized labor on them is really becoming really difficult and hard to find. A lot of the dealer guys, mechanics, don't have a lot of experience with, unfortunately, what we would call old stuff these days on these, so you have to go to find good independents. And the Lambos, I know, are really tough to get to the engine. And you spend a lot of time just taking the convertible top to get to the engine to service them the way that you need to. So
if I'm thinking about buying these, I should not go for a Spider, it sounds like.
You're just going to spend more on labor because all the engine work is going to require more time to get access to everything.
It's really great to know. Reliability-wise, though, is one better than the other?
That they have an Audi powertrain, so at least you have a really reliable engine. That's a really good sign. This was designed by the Italians, which I love them for everything they do. Super exotic.
So German engineering?
German engineering underneath a lot of this, which I actually like.
Sometimes you can get these serviced at the Audi dealer too.
Yeah, you can probably get all your parts at the Audi dealer.
Save a little bit of money going to the Audi dealership versus the Lamborghini dealership. So growing up, my father was big into muscle cars. He grew up in muscle car generation, so he gave me books and magazines and photos. Like that was our bedtime stories. So I learned what engine was in each car, what year changed with the vents, with the hood scoops, everything. So I'm somewhat knowledgeable on 67 to probably 73 muscle cars. This is a 69 Firebird Trans Am. My second car was a 69 Firebird convertible. My father and I bought it together. My first car was a 69 Mustang. We restored that. I sold it. It was too fast. My mother wouldn't let me have it. Second car, my father bought a really rough 69 Firebird with my money from the Mustang. We built that. We restored that. What's cool about these is like the 350, that 350 cubic inch GM engine that they've had forever comes in these standard. So I had a 350 like small block in a Firebird, which was really reliable. No girl cared about it. You'd think like, hey, I have a cool muscle. Girls don't care. It's all about the dudes. All the dudes would give me the compliments, especially the old guys. So this car in the Trans Am, you can tell it's a Trans Am because it has the Trans Am stripes over the spoiler. Spoiler was an option. White was like your iconic Trans Am with the blue stripes. And then if you come over here, Ram Air hood, the GTO and the Trans Am had the Ram Air hood. Oftentimes had a tack on the hood right here. This doesn't have the tack. And the Trans Am came with the optional Firebird 400. So the Pontiac 400. Really, really cool car. The sister to the Camaro, not as many in production, so it's actually a lot cooler to see a Trans Am over like a Camaro.
Yeah, these catch my eye whenever I see them on the road.
Yeah, it's really neat. And see it in white on white is really like a rare combination.
A few moments later.
All right, so I'm not exactly sure what this is, honestly, but I believe this is definitely German, possibly a Leopard from maybe the late 70s, so Cold War.
You mentioned you had Army tank knowledge?
Yeah, a lot of knowledge about World War II, a lot of American and German. Yeah, it's Leopard 1A5. Okay. So I personally don't know too much about these. I'm much more knowledgeable about the U.S. and older German tanks. However, these are fantastic. These were old Cold War.
I think it's the meanest thing that's here today. I don't know how they're going to actually drive this across the auction block. I don't know.
It's not something they can push. They have to drive it through, right? Unless it shows up on screen, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's.
I would much prever it see roll through.
Yeah.
This is pretty neat. So you're into, what is it, like Cold War stuff or World War II things?
Yeah. I'm not too knowledgeable about Cold War, honestly, but what I do know is that these are very, very fast for our time.
What's fast for a tank?
Some tanks can actually get up to 50 miles an hour.
Really?
Some of them like an RU-251.
And they just go over anything at that speed?
Over anything, but you generally don't want to hit things too fast, though.
Right. Would you mind introducing yourself so everybody just knows who you are?
I'm Garrett Heisinger. I'm the simulation operator at the Chicane Club.
Let's do a walk around. Do you know, like, can you point out things, the turret or the cannon? I don't know anything of the, is it a periscope?
Yes, these do come with periscopes. You all see there's a chunk of what seems to just be metal that's on there. And this is actually there for spaced armor, so that when a shell hits, then it has more, even this might be thin, yes, but these are there so that when a shell hits, that way it breaks up the shell into a lot of different fragmented pieces. In that way, then it doesn't penetrate into the actual tank, keeps the crew alive. Here we have these are smoke grenade launchers. These will actually launch smoke and deploy.
Oh, these are smoke rocket launchers.
Yes, so these actually will have about 40mm smoke grenades in these, and they will actually deploy and create a smoke screen all around the tank in a radius to help keep the tank in cover. And so they can't, let's say there's some kind of anti-tank armament approaching, or they're in the open view and they need to...
What's the cable for?
The cables are probably there. I'm not exactly sure. Probably I would have to say for getting the tank out of a situation where, like, in case it's stuck, or if another tank is stuck, or some other piece of equipment is like stuck in mud.
Do these come with a winch or something?
I don't do a winch.
Once it gets stuck, how else would you get it out? Tow it with another tank?
Yeah, usually that, or you use a lot of like logs or some other hard material that you can get under the tracks and try to lodge it out from the mud or whatever it might be stuck in.
And it comes with a factory tow package?
Yeah.
How many people fit in a tank?
The crew can be up to 5 people, depending on the size. And,
wow. And then the artillery's in there as well, obviously.
Yeah, so usually you'll have a radio man, a gunner, a commander, a driver, and a loader.
That was far more knowledge than I was expecting to learn about this tank. I was going to walk around and go, oh wow, this is cool. That was awesome. Thanks for the lesson.
I can tell you more, but...
If you have more, let it out.
I wish I did. It's a little bit out of my expertise.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah.
Is there only one way in and out of a tank?
Usually, yes. There's the cupola at the top here.
Is there a secret in the bottom or anything?
No, usually there's a cupola at the top for the gunner, the commander, the loader, and all them. And then the front, actually, right above where the driver sits, there's a hatch where the driver can peek his head out, so you can see a bit more. And usually that's closed during the operation. That way, you don't want to get your driver's head taken off.
Right.
That would be a very bad time. But yeah, so usually the driver can see out a little bit, and even when that's closed, they have little like breaches you can kind of see through.
It's really interesting. Thank you. Guess what's here? My flipping $400 to a Ferrari 360 Spider in Rossa Corsa Red. This was the car. This is an 04. I'm really curious to see what it sells for today. I sold mine for 86. I paid 88, I think, had some money, labor into it. I'm curious what it sells for today. There's this and there's the California. So what I want to pick your brain about, again, a California is like an affordable Ferrari as well. 2+2, front engine, for like the budget-friendly Ferrari owner, purchaser. Which is better? I mean, I know I'm getting a newer car, newer tech, but can you just walk me through the two and which would be a better preferred vehicle?
Yeah, so the 360, it's a bit older. To me, it's a bit more raw Ferrari for what it is. I love the engine sound a little bit better. Mid-engine is really hard to beat. If you're gonna buy a Ferrari, you're gonna wanna buy a red one with a mid-engine.
That's exactly why I bought it,
that's
that
really
reason.
What I'm looking for. Are they a bit more maintenance sensitive? Yeah, they are, but that's something you should be considering if you're talking about a Ferrari regardless, because this is still an expensive car to work on.
So now if we go to the California, these two are about the same price range, and this actually might be less expensive than an 04 Spider. For that reason, you said red mid-engine Ferrari. Is it worth buying something like this?
They're not personally not my cup of tea. They are quite reliable. They occasionally have some convertible top issues, but most convertible top cars do at some point. So they're quite reliable, really nice interior. They're really fast. There's no denying how fast they are. Really cool engine sound. Not my cup of tea personally, but I think they're really good bang for their buck for what they are.
MSRP of $228 on this, MSRP of $205 on this. So fast forward about 7 years, they're about the same price range now.
Yeah.
We've talked about Ferraris, we've talked about Lamborghinis, we've talked about some muscle cars, some cool stuff outside. I'm really curious to see what's actually selling and for what prices. Do you want to head inside and
let's do it.
See what we can come up with? Cool, let's do it. Something that's really cool is like this Bentley Continental GT is insanely affordable. Something that was like $150,000 not that long ago, it was in 2012, so 12 years ago, is now $30,000. So like the price of a Camry, you can be driving down South Beach in a Bentley. The problem is the repairs aren't like Camry repairs, so that's why the values are so low. Do you work on any of this stuff? Do you have any experience with any of these things?
I think I've changed a battery in a Continental, and I think that's the limitation of what
in the trunk, and even that wasn't that easy. I think I had 2 batteries in my Continental, one on each side of the trunk. I enjoyed mine, W12, so like, I'm gonna say it wrong, but instead of like a V12, it's like that, isn't it? Something like that. It's like 2 VR6s or something. Twin turbo, all-wheel drive, almost 500 horsepower.
Super smooth.
Actually, this was amazing in the winter. It was my winter beater. I loved it. Then you get into like, now we're in Florida Bentleys. So convertibles, like old man luxury, old man with money, this is what they buy. Awesome
all day,
cars.
every day you see them.
Yeah, right? All over the place.
Everywhere.
I want to drive one of these. This is like, you go from the Corvette and then you upgrade to your Bentley or something. The reason we're out here now, the Viper's here. So a couple of the cars that we looked at earlier, we're gonna see them run through. We didn't really look at the Viper. Why don't you go walk us around that real quick and then we'll see it run through.
Yeah. I don't know where these things go right now. This is the last call. This is the one I would have.
They could be 40, it could be 70. During COVID, they were like 100.
Yeah. 65 is what I would anyway go for. That's my guess, but I don't know.
You have more money than me then. I was at 40.
Thank you. And now 100. Dark Company's going to be 100. 100,000 in bid. And I'm going to pay. I'm going to bid. I'm going to pay. Let's hear your West Palm. And 105,000 I have. So!
Out there, Palm Beach, let's hear you. All right, that's what we come for. We got a great bike over there now.
I think you can tell who the seller is just by the animation up front.
You got a cool car. And now 15, 20. And now 15, 25. Here, 25. Yeah, I'm wrong. And now 25.
No, I'm out at 50, sorry. Nope. One and done, that's it. I'm out. 65? You're pretty spot on. After fees, they're going to be right where you said.
Viper and Dodge produced just 360 in the final.
60, and now 2. 60, you're out.
You were almost spot on. All right, we have a Bentley, a BMW Corvette. So I didn't get the Corvette, I didn't get the Viper, I didn't get the CT SV wagon. I did get one, and it's right over here. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I figured I'd show you. Might be out of your realm of expertise.
I love learning new stuff, though.
I could have taken a bath on this thing. I don't know yet. This is a 2004
cool.
Hummer H1, fully Kevlar coated, but really all they did was spray the hell out of it with like a Rhino liner. It was probably a military vehicle originally. They put a big ass set of 24-inch wheels on 37-inch tires.
This is super cool.
Exoskeleton doors. I mean, this is like just a beast. And there's nothing to it but a diesel engine and some off-road capabilities.
I need a wider garage.
Yeah, right? I don't know how the hell I'm going to ship this back to New Hampshire. It won't even fit on a trailer. So I might have got myself into some trouble with this one.
This is fun. This is super cool. What's not to like about this? It's precisely everything you need in a Hummer.
It's everything you would never need, really.
Never need. Yeah.
But that's what's fun about it. So this is my purchase for the week. $26K plus fees, so I'm into it for 28.5, at least 28.5. I've sold one last year, a little different, a little more done up. I sold it for 50. So I'm thinking this car, I can just bring it right across the street to the dealer auction, get rid of it, and I hope make some money on a quick flip. Let's find my Corvette, get the heck out of here. You've been hanging out with me for far too long. I assume you're sick of me by now. It's got to be around here somewhere.
Yeah, let's go find it.
The day is over. I am smoked. I don't know about you.
Oh, dude, it's nice to finally sit down.
This is the first time we actually sat down, and it's in the Corvette that we sold. So today's video, a success, because I feel like I learned a lot from you. Thank you for that.
I learned a lot from you. Thank you.
I didn't lose money, so that's a positive.
Congrats on that.
Might be one of the first few times I've been to these auctions that I didn't lose money. It was another break even. Greg, from the Chicane Club, Jupiter, Florida, you have a sim car club. So like you can join with memberships, and it's like an all access pass to learn how to race cars.
Yep.
You also do live simulators on YouTube. So Greg has his own YouTube channel. Just briefly tell us your YouTube channel, about your live streams, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, we're at the Chicane Club right on YouTube. So we do live streams every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, running about until 10 p.m. You get to see me in the sim that you drove last night, racing competitively with professional sim racers all around the world. Pretty competitive.
Oh, it's competitive all over the world. Like
I'll be racing
out
a guy
there
from Southeast Asia,
wow.
South America, Europe, or 5 miles away somewhere in South Florida. So yeah, we race pretty competitively. We do 45-minute races in the IMSA category, which is just based on a real racing category.
Full dialogue. Are you explaining what you're doing? What should people expect?
Totally, yeah. I do full commentary. I explain everything that I'm doing. I am not a professional driver. I am a coach, engineer, and strategist. So the driving is probably my weakest part of that. But I'm still in the top 8% of iRacing, so I'm so proud of that. Getting a lot
very humble. You keep saying things like you keep dropping little things every once in a while. So Greg has a YouTube channel with the link in the description if you want to follow him. If you're in the Jupiter, West Palm Beach area, you want to start trying out, learning how to race, try the simulators, check out the Chicane Club, become a member, and maybe sneak away from the house every once in a while and learn how to race a car on someone else's dime.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you
Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Adios.
Bye, guys.